Okay, so welcome everyone. So the from the review that was done, if you are the person, if you are the one that has your research that you want to do, there will be a space for you to first do literature review, and in so doing literature review, that's what those people from Amen Up Right have rightly done, because the assignment that was given to them is to pick a topic, and from that topic they should look for two relevant publications from which they can deduct some useful resource from that they can use for further processing in terms of writing and in terms of direction for that topic which they picked. And in so doing, like this person currently now, the person choose a topic of a comparative analysis of public trust in traditional versus former justice system in Shaki or your state. So, and the person have done literature review to come across this particular publication, which I've already checked on Google Scholar to ensure. I think I set it over. Not it. Okay, this is it. So this is a particular journal on Google Scholar, which is an investigation of traditional ruler intervention in conflict result of Ijebu land, Ogun State. So I told them to extract the aim of the study, the summary of the introduction, the method used, and key findings. The reason behind this is this makes you to identify what has been done, what has not been done, so that you can know what your own research that you are working on currently will tends to fulfill in the new uh, not even new, in the research gap. What you are trying to fill in the research gap, there will be a clarity, and to ensure that your work is not still repeating what has been in existence. So that is why you have to do literature review. And from here you can see this particular study focus this aim examine the role played by traditional ruler, but that's not where I'm even coming from. Where I'm coming to is this methodology. Okay, let me use this. Is this methodology? You can see from the methodology. I told us before that we have different approach to data analysis. Different approach in the sense that it can be quantitative and it can be qualitative. And in so quantitative or qualitative also, we have different approach under them, whether it's primary or it's secondary. And from this particular study, which you can also see from here, because every literature that you search online, major thing that you first need to relate with is the abstract. Abstract give you enough information to know whether the paper will be relevant for you to view or not. So and from this paper, this part to this part, they tends to give us a background view, a summary background view of what the research is about, which says that pervasive community conflicts in Nigeria often result in loss of life and property. They are giving us basic information to understand what the whole research is all about. Traditional rulers have generally been traditional rulers have generally been identified as key stakeholders in community conflict management. Just like normal rural community, people takes their comment to obas, to baale, just for them to address some circumstance for them because they resolve matter. I was in a community where I still hear people doing that stuff recently. So when I was passing by that community, I heard people saying, they've taken the matter to the Oba, and the Oba said this, and that. So people still take the matter discussion instead of going to court. So they will take the matter to the front of the kings or to the ballet, and those one will do the justice to that matter. So that's what this one is telling us about. And immediately after this segment, they declare the aim of the research, which is what we have here. This study investigates the role of traditional ruler in conflict resolution in Ijebuland, Ogun State. So they already that one give us a of clarity of the research aim. And immediately they are done with the research aim, they gave us a clear methodology of what they use, which you can see from here to here. So in the methodology, they make us to understand that they are working with quantitative research, which they are using semi-structure questionnaire to gather data, which is collect data, and they gave us a sample size, which is 400. And they gave us a geographical location of where they are working on, which is Ijebu land, and people that they are collecting the data from, which include the traditional ruler, community leaders, and also residents, people living in that place. And they gave us a clear theory that was used for this analysis, which is system theory. You might tend to want to know more about system theory. System theory states what? This is interdisciplinary framework for study complex interconnected systems ranging from organism to organization as unified whole rather than just collection of parts. So this person is using system theory in the sense that they are looking into the community as whole, looking into how the leader in this Ijebu land have been resolving different conflicts, different complex and minor or whatever the case may be, conflicts in that region. And we can see from after the methodology, we are given the clear results that they got from it. Meaning that they said traditional ruler navigates, blah, 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 all those stuff. A mean score of 4.072, showing the highest proportion. And don't forget, you guys are in data analysis. When I was explaining to you, I said we used to vary our option based either from weakness, very weak to very strong, or from very strong to very weak. Irrespective of how you do it, you have to master which one is your lowest level and which is your highest level. Let's assume I'm considering, let me use this document. I'm considering them to pick an option when I was filling a form, and I gave them the aspect of uh, strongly disagree. I gave them the option of disagree. I gave them the option of neutral. I gave them the option of agree, and I gave them the option of strongly agree. On a normal norms, not to create confusion with somebody else that will deal with my data later, the best way to do this is I move from this down upward, so that I move from lowest to the highest depending on the question. If the question is, it will be, let me take an example for you. Every dark guy are always beautiful, beautiful than light guess. It's not a question, so everybody can pick what they want. So let's assume this is my question. On normal norms, though this question may not be a straight part one, but always more bit. Okay, it's two things that we are relating. So I want to click my note on this one to be my highest, so that everyone disagree with this purpose, and this should be my lowest that disagree with this particular question. So if I want to code this one under my data analysis, I can code this one 1, code the next one 2, code this one 3, code this one 4, and I'll code this one 5. So that by the time I analyze this result, and like this case now, that I'm seeing a mean score of what? Of 4.07. That means 4.07 is between these two entities here. Is between these two entities. So I can say majority people what? Agree to this question, because it's 4.072 mean is falling between these 4 and 5. So I can now conclude that with the IS showing that respondents believe that traditional rulers are effective in conflict resolution using mediation strategy. So that is how understanding of literatures also sync with your data analysis approach, because it's a easy thing to quickly analyze all these results and come to the end result to just say your mean is 4.07. But how do you translate this one in discussion? So if I should analyze that I'm getting a mean of 3.8, 3.8 is in between here. I can say people majority agree and majority stand on the neutral ground, depending on 3 points something that I'm getting. If it's 3.9, I can still say majority agree. But if I'm getting 3.2, majority are neutral on that particular decision. And we can also see that one from getting 4.072 over here. So that is how you translate your analysis to discussion. So though we are still going to check more of this as we go on within the setting. So that is about, and you can see okay, this person also extracts some key findings out, and like that. So that is the connection between it. So when you do your literature review also give you the prospect of which type of method of research. I think the next class that will be holding for those people from Amen Upright, we'll be shifting our digression a little bit, though we'll do a literature review few in the next class, but on further level, we'll uh, be moving to methods of research. So in so doing, when we do literature review and we understand the method that was used for a particular research, that one can help us to project what our own research method would be, either a quantitative one or a qualitative one. Either it will be a primary research or it will be a secondary research. That one will be dropping left under the research and the approach to gathering data and analyzing the data. However, for a start, our own focus is more on quantitative data, and that's why we've given some of our students from ATS to come up with questionnaire to generate some data. So let me now move back to ATS. Why we from Avenop is also learning, as they've also learned from your own integral part. So this particular person that works on mommy magnet, whatever. Let me quickly check the WhatsApp of that person. Yeah. Okay, so let's quickly look into this and translate it to our data analysis. I may not take a time to explain the exact interface because I've taken time to explain it. It's one of the link of the video that I sent to us. So from that video, you can learn more on different interface. But let me quickly scan through some that is being needed essentially for what we actually want to do. And let me connect the dots. So on this interface, the majority part of what we need is just under this data analysis, this particular option. And I say if this option is not on your laptop in your own, There's a video that I sent the link already that you can use that one to navigate to learn about how to get this on your laptop. So for this particular one, for anything research, we said, or anything, even data analysis, you start from identifying the problem, sourcing for your data, and before you can source for your data, you already have a clear methodology that you want to use, which in this case we are dealing with a quantitative research approach. And with that quantitative, the person use an online form to do a survey, which is using of questionnaire, and from that we are able to get the results, which in the result that we got now, we move to the next page of cleaning the data. And in cleaning the data, before we proceed to the next step of data analysis, that's what we tend to want to achieve. Cleaning of data just mean removing what is not needed, and correcting what may look wrong, and also to transform, transpose, or whatever be the circumstance of the question. However, before we move into that, let me quickly address something here. This particular, what is your age, current age? Well, it's good to make it an open question sometimes, but for your analysis, especially if a specific age is not a major concern, you might tend not to make it an open question. You are tend to put it on a cage level that probably range 10 to 20 to 15 to, depending on what it may be, and people that you are considering. However, the Mommy Magnet, a retrospect of study on childhood parental preference, mean that this particular study will not be limited to children, and it will not be only limited to adults. They want to see from perspective of everyone how their childhood parenting has been. So it can even be grandma that will fill this form just to show us their what's it called, their childhood parent preference. And it might be a teenager or even a child that have access to mobile phone or mobile device that can fill the form, just for us to have a balanced proportion of individual giving us a feedback. So but in that case, one can consider age brackets 10 to, so because in this case when you make it open, a lot of people tends to give you different options that may give you a concern if you are dealing with bulk data. Like you can also see from your respondent that you have over here, we have a lot of people giving us number, and we have somebody that is giving us 22 years. If you can see from here, somebody is writing, somebody is writing 22 years, making this not a number, but what? Why is this coming down? So not to be a number, but to be an with a tag of alphabet. So in normal reasons, the best way to do it, correct it if it's part of the study that we are doing. But if this thing is lengthy, it's because it's just short. That's why I have to be taking time to look up. If it's something that is very bulky, probably you have 1,000 data, 200 data, 2,000 data, you might not have the time to be checking one after the other, though it's good. So in some cases, we apply um, some other strategies to get that one sorted. For here, for the analysis, I don't need this timestamp and this even concept. So I only need this. What's your age? What's your mother? Uh, I don't know. most of these opening questions, it will be difficult to analyze them. But I'm not sure if this opening question anyway, because there seems to be, okay, this is an open question. I should not do. Why I'm saying this may not be open question, but I think it's an open question, except it's the same person that filled twice. This one is telling us that mother was more gentle or softer. I still see it here. Mother so gentle and softer. Do you have, okay, this one here also. So I believe is a question that they select from. Is it is having option, it's not a personal fee, because if it's a personal fee, there will be something that will be a little bit different from them. In your memory, how did your mother react? Okay, so if I have to analyze this particular data now, the problem that we are trying to look into is to check the view of children on their own childhood parental preference, that which of the parents, or even this person, okay, the person pair mother and father together, not mother separate, father separate. Okay, so it's to, the problem is to look into which of the parent categories, and the person classify parent categories in terms of mother and father, single mother, single father, mother and stepfather, father and stepmother with grandparents, because this is the class that a child can fall into, that they can find their upkeep or upbringing or upbringing or whatever you classify it to be on. So to check this perspective, and in so doing, that will be our central line of focus. But for us to analyze this data, we can't analyze any word like this in this form. We can't analyze I this, I had this, I have no strong preference, I had no strong preference. So we have to turn all this to number. We have to turn all this that you are seeing here into number before we can analyze them. But in not doing them to number, after cleaning, you've gone through all this code, and all these results. Anyone that, any result that you've seen that is not looking the right way it's supposed to be, you've cleaned them up, you've edited them, you've transposed them. The next thing is now coding it. Under that coding, sorry. So under the coding is where we tends to translate the text that's been written into number for us to now be accustomed to it. So I'll use one as explanation, like the way I did over here. Where is that document again? Okay, like the way I did over here. So for us to know which one is one, which one is two, which one is three, which one is four. So like this case now, for example, I can bring my May to be one. Let me put it here so that it will not take much space. I can put my May to be one, while my female will be two. While my female will be two. The reason is, if I did not do this what I want to do, there's no possibility of analyzing this. Even though I can analyze this first one because they are all number, I will not be able to analyze the remaining one that we have over here downward. So if I go to data analysis, we have different options of data analysis that we have here, but let's consider descriptive. And I press OK, and I select the range of what I want to analyze. Let me say this. And I select the first row to be labeled. The first row is to label is being selected because this particular our first row here, which is our row one, is where our label is, and our data is arranged in front of a column. That's why we put it in a column. Assuming our data is arranged in this horizontal way, number sideway, we'll have picked row. So we want the response in a new worksheet, and it should give us the summary statistics. So if I should press OK, this thing will not go. Why is it not going? It said input range contain non-numeric data, because he's seeing this, he's seeing all this as a numeric data, which is not what we can analyze. So I have to convert all to number. So let's try to do that. Let me try to create a new worksheet over here. I'll come back to this form one, and I need to first move this heading over there. Then I can consider moving others. However, the only one I can move currently now is this current age, because they are numeric. So for the other one, based for the gender now, let me expand it so that you see. For this gender part, I already stated it clearly here that my male is what is my 1 and my female is what 2. Let me ask this question randomly from every one of you. So far we pick our male to be 1 and we pick our female to be 2. Let's assume when we run the mean, we are getting something about 1.02. Who is the majority? Well, which category is the majority and which category is minority in that case? Anybody from the call? Hello, can you are going to have what? Assuming we get a mean of 1.02 mean, who is the majority out of this male and female? The male. Why is it the male? Why is it the male? So 1. So that is the reason why we have to. But assuming somebody have coded this, they code this one particular one 2 and they code this one 1. So definitely that will not be the case. The case now will be what? Will be female instead of male. And that is how you have to watch what your code is all about when you are doing the analysis. And even everybody that wants to jump on the result that you got must base the discussion of the result on what the person code, what he or she is working on. But in my own case here, I will code this one 1 and I will code this one 2. So there's option that will call in part of the formula over here. Let me go to the formula here. Ooh. Let me check this so that we'll see more option. So under this option, there's something we'll call VLOOK. So VLOOK option is what we actually want to explain tonight. What VLOOK option does is we tend to look for a replacement that we've already set in a subset for a bigger cell, so that we can replace. For example, in this case now, I've already created a subset over here. Not this. I've already created a subset over here. And let's do it this way before I even push further. Where's my phone? All of you can drop your hand. Okay, lower. you are not getting what we are doing up to now, raise up your hand. Is it the only one? Are you people kept silent in a class? To some of the question. Let's start from Emmanuel, the first person that raised up on that. What's the question? Where is the confusion coming in? Okay, I think I get you. I get the reason behind this. Okay. Alabi, please, what's the problem? What's the question? Okay, from when I'm asking which question? We've talked a lot though, but probably what we do is this: the video will be make applicable to you. But what we just do for us is try to follow along. I will try to explain some stuff back again while we also balance that. But you can rewatch the video to gain more stuff from it. Where are the remaining one that raise up hand? So every one of us that remain now, apart from these two, we are clear with what we are doing. Let me see your thumbs up if you are on the same page together, because some people raise up their hand the other time but they are not more raising up because probably because I'm asking people to talk. So I want to believe every one of us understood what we are doing, right? Okay. So let me quickly do some recap. What we're actually doing is, I said, when I was explaining to you guys in previous classes, I said for any research to happen, there are some steps that you have to take place. And for every research, we always used to have 5 key levels, which is your introduction, your literature review, your methodology, your results and discussion, and your conclusion. So in between your literature review and your results and discussion, there are some key perspectives that requires attention. In terms of, in doing your literature review, you are able to establish different authors, different perspectives of what they've carried out. You have identified the research gap, what they were unable to do, what they are able to do, and in so doing, you also seen the method that they use. Is the method applicable in your own type of research? If yes, then you can consider that method. So in your method now, for example of what we are using as case study, this particular process study actually work on quantitative data, carrying out quantitative research approach, and in so doing they were able to gather different response from the participants that participate in this questionnaire. Now we actually want to work on the results gotten after application of the method, which the method is what? Is a survey approach using questionnaire. The questionnaire is also run online. So when people fill, we have to analyze the data to know the trend and the pattern of where the result is heading towards. And in so doing, for us to do the analysis, we are using Excel for tonight. Don't forget that I told us there are different tools that we use for analysis. We use, in addition to Excel, we use SPSS, we use Stata, we use Python, and there's even a lot more that we have currently, even artificial intelligence in this era, that you can use for your analysis. So getting data, extracting that data to Excel, we tend to want to work on this data. And for any data analysis approach, I said we always used to have 5 to 6 scale depending on how you classify it. The first one is identifying of problem, which this person has identified as looking into the childhood parental preference among children. So they actually want to learn perspective of different individual to how their childhood parental preference look like. What did they prefer? Is it father and mother? Is it father and stepmother? Is it grandparents and the likes? And now they've gotten data which we need to use to answer this question that this research tends to want to address. So, and I said when we bring it on board to Excel, anything numeric this way will not is not something that we can analyze because it's an alphanumeric one. We we need to turn it to number for us to be able to analyze it. And I said in that there's a need for a step called cleaning. Cleaning is where we remove what is unwanted, anything that is not wanted. Like we saw the other time that we saw 20 years here, the person put YEAR at the back of it because it's an open question. As you can see here, it's an open question. So even I can write it in Word, I can write the 20 something or whatever part something, I can write it in Word on the in the form. So is that requires the author or the analyst to be able to translate that into the original number that it ought to be, which is the cleaning space. And after we've cleaned, I said the next thing is for us to be is to code it in most especially those parts that have alphanumeric, we have to convert it to number. And I said in doing so, we tend to sense a precept of hierarchy. Which one is your lowest and which one is your highest? So that by the time you run your analysis and you get your results, you'll be able to know what your result is doing. You'll be able to interpret your results. So somebody cannot just come from somewhere and just pick your results and relate it, though they will relate it on the general basis, but they might get it wrong because of what we just showed under coding now, like we did over here. So like we have over here, I'm coding the male to be 1 and I'm coding the female to be 2. Somebody can decide to code the male 2 and code the female 1. So if somebody does not pay attention to this particular one and possibly the person is seeing 1.85, the person will believe majority of people there are what are female, whereas what the person may be working towards may be in this regard that male is 2, so it will contradict it. So in interpreting the result, one must also understand what was coded for it so that one will be able to connect the dots. And that's why some research that some used to do, that probably you send it to analyst to analyze for you, they will just send the result without discussion. You don't know where and what and how to apply it. That's where the problem used to lie. So, and in that, I've actually created a new worksheet, which is to bring all our response in terms of a numeric one that is analyzable. So under the form, the next question they ask is, what is your gender? So you can either be male or a female. And I said one of the resource tools that I want to use under Excel, you can get that when you go to your home under your Excel, go to this summation icon. You see a lot of formula there. When you click for more function, and in so doing you can look for what we call VLOOK. VLOOK So VLOOK option, what is actually working on is for us to be able to pull some data from a subset like this that we've just created now for the age. So a subset, we are looking for some numeric value in a subset to replace what we have in the main document. What did I mean by that one? For example now, where we have male here, I want it to be 1. Where we have female here, I want it to be 2. Although because this data is not many, I may tend to change it myself that male should be 1, 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 female to be 2, female to be 2. But that is waste of time, especially if I'm having like 1,200, 5,000 data. So I may not have the luxury of time to be doing that. So what I will do is I will use this particular VLOOK. I just have to come here. So if I should click over here, I want you guys to pay attention to this formula. Can we still hear me? So every formula, like I told us, we that were in data analysis the last time, which you guys in also writing, some of you guys are familiar with this. Every analysis that you want to carry out must come with equals to in front. So V look, so it will also give you some of those functions, so you can correlate with it. This V look. So it's asking us that lookup value. What is the value that I want to look up for? So I'll go to my main sheet, which is this particular first one here. That's what I want to look for. This male one, that's what I want to look for. So I'll click on it, comma. So the next one is telling us that table array that we just add that contain other information. So this is a table array, comma. Sorry, something is mixed up here. Sorry. So we have the VLOOK option. Which value are we looking up for? We have the male, comma. So it's asking us for the table array where it wants to look the value from, which is this, comma. It's asking us that which column is having index number. If you check over here, please pay attention to this. If you don't get it, let me see your hands up to get the question. When we select this as our array, this is having alphanumeric over here, and this is what? This is the number index. So this is column 1, this column 2. Is column 2 that is having the number, and it's asking for what? Column index number. So column is the number 2 is where your index number is. So you type 2, comma, and you can go for false, exactly match. So if it does not exactly match, it should return false, and I can close that bracket. So it's giving me 1 because over here male is the first person, and the first male is calibrated to be what? To be 1. So assuming I'm even doing 10 billion data or this stuff, I don't need to disturb myself. What I just have to do is click on this, and I will lock the particular table array that I added over here, I mean this particular one over here, the 16a to 17b over here, what we used to use to lock, so that that one will not be shifting in this, because if I should stretch this thing down, it will be shifting down. Let's try it. Let me show you what I'm saying. This one is giving me error because by the time it comes over here, it has shifted instead of 16a to 17b that we have before. It has shifted to 17 what a to 18b. So I don't want it to be moving that way, that it will not be giving me error. So what I will do is I'll come over here. This first one, which is what we are looking for, that is the parameters that we want to change. The first mail that we want to change, I don't need to change it because it will be changing that word, what we actually want to change. They now said, well, from the table array where we are looking it from, which is this, the table array is what we don't want to be shifting. So I will lock it up with what we with $sign. So we use $sign to lock. So that is that. That will still give us 1. So if I should drag this one down by just clicking on the first one and putting my cursor to the edge of it to show that black icon I drag down, it will apply to every one of them. But why is this one giving us error? So that's another option of what I need to go and check, showing that my female in this maybe having it, because I notice it's female 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So under the female is where we are having the issue. So is the female here different from the female here? Are they different? Because I'm not seeing anything different. So, but let's check. So you can see that it has updated that. But why is the last one still giving us issue? So I want to check why this last one is giving us that. I think, okay, our data is on 13. This also end on where? On 13. Something is wrong. 2 female, 1, 2, 3, 4 before female. Male is 1, 2, 3, 4 before female. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I think I get now. The reason why it's not giving us that is because I started from 3, not from 2. If you should check this particular first one, you are looking for it in B3. So I'm supposed to start from this one. That's where you pay attention to diagnose your results in your analysis. I'm supposed to start from this particular one, B2, not from B3. So because when I was checking back my data now, I noticed that the male is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm supposed to have 5, 1 before I have any 2. But here I'm having 4. So it's seeing an empty space over here for it to get data for that one. So what I will just have to do over here is double click on this first one and change it to B2, not B3. And I will now navigate it down. So every of my data should be correct that way. So that is how you do it. So even if I have thousands, 10,000 data, it will apply to it instead of me typing it manually that male is one, female is two, male is one, female is two, and the likes. So same things apply to other column. Are you guys getting what I'm explaining? Hello? Okay. I will also run for this. This particular category, this person has, the reason why I want this particular questionnaire is so that I will be able to pick it word by word from it, because many may not pick any option from this. That's how you also have to pay attention when you are doing analysis for a client that works on questionnaire. You don't only do your analysis based on the result that they gave to you. You collect the questionnaire from them. If you should see now, this particular option that we have here, we are having 1 2 3 4 5 6 options, and from the option that I'm seeing over here, people only pick only two, majority pick one out of it, and only one person pick one out of it, meaning that we only have two options here. Assuming I don't have access to this questionnaire and I only have this, I will be thinking there's only two options there, which make my research not complete. So for me to be able to understand that, I need to use data from the questionnaire. So I can pick the first one that we have over here, mother and father, to be one. Let me use it. Mother and father to be one. Single mothers to be two. Single fathers to be three. Mother and stepfather to be four. Father and stepbrothers to be five. And grandparents should be the last one. So I will label it one. When you are dealing with long number, you don't need to be selecting or just have a fixed range between them, and you can drag this thing down to fit the remaining number for you. So this is my when you were young, who were the primary parent figure, the question that you have over here. So these are the options that I expect people to pick. Let me share this one something less clean. So what I will have to do is, for me to know where this belongs to when we are converting to number, I will just have to go to the next sheet and type that same equals to VLOOK. And what is the value I'm looking for? So I will see the value in C1, which is this. Oh, sorry, C2, because C1 is our heading. So C2, comma what? Where is the table array? This is the table array, comma. So they say which column is having our index number. This column 1, this column 2. So our column 2 is having the index number. So I will select 2, comma. So I will say exact match. It was the exact match, not approximately. And I'll press OK. So this is one. I can come over here to lock the Excel sheet. Don't forget to lock the subset. The subset is from what? That is 19A, or let me say A19, whatever it bring it, to 24B. So that's what I will lock here. A19 with dollar sign. You lock both the column and the row using dollar sign. So I can now pull this one down. So from this, we should expect only one person that differs. So every one of them choose the first option and only one choose the grabber. So that is how you apply to the remaining one. So by the time I now want to run this as analysis, it will not be giving me that error message that we have the other time. So if I should go for data analysis and I choose my descriptive analysis and I select this region as my data that I'm considering, first row to be labeled, it is arranged in column, new worksheet, summary analysis, and I press my OK, it will generate the result for me automatically, no problem, because I'm not dealing with number. This is no longer text. That's why I'm not seeing the error. So I can now use this data that I got to translate. For the first one, we are seeing 0.996. Sorry, the mean. Where's the mean? This age category. The mean for, what is it called? For the gender is showing 1.25. So what is the majority out of that one? So even without going far, you can use your mean, you can use your standard deviation based on explanation of what we got about it to depict what this one will be. The first thing I need to first check is what is my minimum and maximum. Though I set my minimum to be 1 and the maximum to be 2 based on the number that I use, but I know 1 is male and maximum is what? Female. And this one has given us 1.25. Is very closer to what? Is it closer to male or female? Somebody from the house. Male. So we can say male is the majority out of it, and you can also see it from here. And male comes up in, even you see it from the results. That is mode. Where's the result sheet? Under mode here, if you check this mode over here is showing us what? 1. And what you understand by mode is what? The most occurring one. So male is what to occur most. So if somebody don't see this particular thing that we create over here, and the person want to translate this result, the person may be seeing y1. The person may think, is it male that is 1? Is it female that is 1? To justify, but because we know that male is what we calibrated as 1, so far we are seeing the mode to be 1 here, so that means majority there is what? Is male. And this will also affirm it, because 1.2 will be closer to 1, and that is affirming that majority of respondent is a male, not a female. So that is how we analyze the result. So for this is where we'll be stopping for today, for me to accommodate questions from everyone. For everybody in ATS, I believe you already create a form, which is the first stage of assignment that you have, which I believe all of you have done. You've extracted, you've gotten your data, and your data in this form. So the next thing that you are doing is, from your data, you work on it the way you have done tonight. By what? By analyzing, not yes, analyzing the data. But before you analyze data, you clean data, wet your water in this. You code and use VLOOKUP option to translate your non-numeric data to numeric data, so that they will be analyzable, and you run your descriptive analysis using this data analysis. So that is your assignment before next class. So when I see all those ones, that's when I will grade all of them together, from your questionnaire to your data that you pull out and your analysis. I believe the question is clear. So people from Amen Up Writing, your own assignment is what they just did, but your angle will be coming from that review that we did based on your own review topic. Like the sample over here that I use as a case study here, Emmanuel, based on your own topic here, the particular study that you've investigated works on what using survey 400 respondents. We don't need 400 respondents from you. What you now want to do is, based on this topic now, a comparative analysis of public threat, blah, 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 prepare a short questionnaire, probably 5 questions or 6 questions or 10 questions. You have to create it with a Google link form, uh, Google form. There's a video that I've done on that one last class with ATS. So we want to use that one to gather data. I will send the links to you. If I don't remember to send it, ensure you guys message remind me on WhatsApp for you to watch, which you use to create this Google form. You share it with people that are relevant to your case study to fill for you. Just 10, minimum of 10. That's what we need. So you with that minimum of 10, you've gotten something like this person here. So that's what I want from Amen Up Writing class. But for 8 years, I believe you already gotten this table. Yours is to clean and code it and translate it into this form, this form to now do your analysis. I believe to the two end, there's clarity in your assignment. Yes or no? So that is where we'll be stopping tonight, and I'll be expecting your assignments by next class. By next class, I mean Saturday, where we review the two assignments together. But for your class that you're having within the space of the week, go straight to proper learning. So that give you not enough time. Especially some of you guys that you may not have laptop, it's giving you enough room to be able to get a laptop that you can use to do your assignments. So do you have any question from today's class? Do you have any question from today's class? So silence means no, meaning that everything is safe, everything is clear to you guys. So in that case, it's a goodbye from my end. I will try to upload all the video I've promised you people and share the links to you as God is helping me. So good night. Have a wonderful night rest. Thank you. And do your assignments. Yeah, good night.